is November 14th, 2024. Now, the aftermath has kicked in. The Democratic Party is having funerals. It's a whole lot that's going on. And, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. And one thing that I have to go on record right now, and I like to thank YouTube, officially a YouTube partner. I've accepted the litigations or the rules that applies to having your own channel, and I must adhere to it. So I'm gonna try my best, and it looks like we can actually fund the process. So I'd like to thank YouTube, and I appreciate you. So we're going to continue to go up, and this is going to be a good relationship. So the red tidal wave. Let's talk about that red tidal wave. Welcome this morning. Let's talk about that red tidal wave, because a lot of times, we get into situations and they're delayed but not denied. When I say delayed but not denied, meaning some things are supposed to happen and they're going to happen, but it doesn't happen at the time that we thought, because we thought Trump was going to get a second term, but somehow, some way, they was able to, pause everything for 4 years and then try to push a narrative and an agenda to put us to a particular situation. But what they did was put us right in the position that God wanted us to be in. So now we are in a position to stand up. We are in a position to embrace this great nation. We are in a position to come together as one race, and that is the human race, and that is the goal moving forward. So I made, like I said, a nonpartisan independent. I voted down ballot, and my job is to bring people together. My job is to bring people together because we live in this great nation, and this could be one of the greatest nations in the world, but we have just made it through the worst era in American history. When I say the worst era in American history, is because based on this election, it had nothing to do with Harris or Trump. It's powers, principalities, evildoers in high places. So therefore, it's not flesh and blood. So this is an opportunity for us to abandon the two-party system, for the people to study and focus on the Constitution as the people, and come up with laws and legislation for the people, by the people. And then we don't even have to go through the checks and balances when it comes to Congress and the Senate. We can actually just get things signed by the sitting president, no matter what political party or association that they are associated with. And this is the goal moving forward. So this tidal wave had to happen because the American people are tired of the duopoly. American people are tired of the two-party system. American people are tired of going at each other based on their political disposition. And the Constitution said one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So this is why we are living in a moment of time right now where we have an opportunity to basically make that come into fruition. Because like I said, I love human beings. We're all humans. We all have our dispositions. We all have our hangups. We're all sinners. But at the end of the day, nobody's better than the next. But when you're dealing in a two-party system, and they call it democracy, this is when the two parties have to fight, just like in the Civil War days. I'm sure it was individuals that had family members in the South in the Confederacy. They had family members in the North, and they were fighting against each other like brothers. And this is why we got to understand as a people in these United States of America, how we must come together as one, because party's over. So now that the American people have spoken, now the Democratic Party fought so hard to turn the page, and Harris, her campaign, I'm sure, you that are on, heard her say, we're not going back. That's where all the answers and the corrections are, in the back. And she says, oh, we're going to turn the page. But unfortunately, based on what happened or what transpired, she turned the page, and the next page said the end. So we just survived the end of the worst era in American history. Now we can actually get to work. We have a sitting president who was deemed to be, a racist, who was deemed to be, a criminal and all of this. But now he's the president of the United States. So it is on the American people outside of this duopoly to fight for the rights of the American people. Now, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but this Republican president said that he ran on a campaign, no tax on tips. Okay, and that's the stripper industry, the waitresses, things of that nature. He said no tax on overtime. So our job is to make sure that that comes into fruition. And that is my purpose of doing what I do. And this is why, I'm here today to basically get you to understand that now it's time for us to work as American citizens and basically do what's right for the people, by the people, because now we get a chance to hold a sitting president accountable. Because usually we sit back and trust and think that they got our best interests at hand, but they sit back and things, don't happen. 4 years go by, 8 years go by. Next thing you know, we're in the worst position that we've been in, because as a black man who have experienced and seen the first black president in American history in Barack Obama, 4 years later, you know, 8 years later, we're in the worst position that we've ever been in. And then they try to put a female up who, the daughter of immigrants, and literally try to, just force her upon us. But the American people have spoken. So now we have delivered ourselves from their democracy. Now we're going to get an opportunity to press the president who we have to respect, who's Donald Trump. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And we're going to continue to press for things that's right for the country. Because in the state of California, we had Proposition 6 on the ballot, and Proposition 6 ends slavery in the state of California, and it didn't even pass. So based on the Constitution, the state constitution in the state of California, we are still documented as slaves, and it's ran through the prison industrial complex. So meaning a prisoner, is forced to do involuntary labor and involuntary servitude. And that's literally how they rebuilt the South on free labor. Good morning to you. So I will be in the chat this morning. We're just going to be engaging. If you got any questions that you want answered, if you want to vent, go ahead. I will be in these comments, because if you did not know, the channel has recently become monetized. So a hand clap for that. So now, you could donate, you could put some money in the super chat, and we're going to keep on going, because whatever funding that we do get, I'm going to continue to lobby and work for the American people, because like I said, I put my life body of work in the independents, nonpartisan groups. So now that we are outside of the Democratic Party, and just because you're black, you don't have to be a Democrat. Now we can actually make some things happen. So when I say party is over, I know I'm not the only one that is, have looked at television, and I'm looking at the Democratic side, and they're acting as if they, they are going to get fired. They're going to lose their jobs. MSNBC's viewership is down. CNN's viewership is down. And that's because of the lies that was predicated through what I would say, their polls. Because clearly they had no clue that this was going to happen. But I went on the record and I told you, if you could go back, look at some of the videos, that more than likely, based on my knowledge and what I follow, that Trump was actually going to win the popular vote for the first time. And he was going to win the electoral college, and it was going to be a bloodbath, metaphorically. It is what it is. So hi to you, Minjum from India. So we got India in the building. So this is a global effort. Okay. And I'm sure you're Indian. Did you support Kamala Harris? Were you rooting for her? I would love to know. But the red tidal wave is on. So when I say red tidal wave, they predicted a red tidal wave back in 2020. But somehow, due to the COVID mandates, and somehow, they won that election, by hook or crook. And when they say, when the Trump administration say that, it was stolen, I mean, it kind of, right now, and it kind of looks strange, because when you ask them the question, they said there's no evidence of widespread. There's no evidence of widespread cheating. But you only needed cheating in the swing states. It didn't have to be, widespread. So it is what it is. And I got Steve Kiffin here. Where do I get a black Trump cap? Well, basically, this hat right here, this is not a black Trump cap. This is a Make African American Black Again. Because if you did not know, African Americans, that they basically created an ethnicity. But as a black man that you're looking at, we would prefer to go by our race, which is black. And if you're white, brown, Chinese, indifferent, it's okay to say that's a black man right there. That African American is what the Democrats ethnicity. I've never been to Africa, born and raised in America. So there's no way that I can actually be two continents. Okay, I can't be African and American. That's two continents. Because even I got African friends when I talk to them and say, "You guys are really African American," they say, "No, I'm not. I'm Kenyan." Okay, I'm from Ghana. They speak. Uh, um, they literally go with their country, okay, not the continent. Okay, we prefer to be black. So African American died with the Democratic Party, okay, because this is something that they created in the 60s and 70s. Because if you know about history, black was what we were. James Brown said, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud." We are proud to be black and Mongolian. Okay, the Mongolian is Asian. The Caucasoid is Caucasian, and the Negroid is the melanated, black, indigenous, native creators of all humanity. And this is why they wanted to get rid of that. Okay, so I basically to Steve, I just got my super chat. I just passed all of the checks and balances when it comes to YouTube. So now I'm going to open up a merch store. So I'm going to get into that office within a week or two. I'm going to have everything up on my main page, 16, 19 shirts, my hats, merch, things of that nature. So it is. Let me see here. I'm white, but I love the Logic Brothers. Listen, we are human beings, and I'm talking to Steve right now. We human beings. And this thing and the threat to their democracy was for blacks, whites, and any, human being on the planet to come together outside of the idolatry of these political parties and these political systems, because one race under God, visible with liberty and justice for all. We need to come together as one unit. And the only reason we have not come to that position so far is because they use the race card. We got mass incarceration, which is modern day slavery. The Democratic Party, they throw stones. Democratic Party, loose on crimes. They create an ecosystem to where we keep on repeating the same thing. But I truly believe that this election, we broke the cycle, and we'll have an opportunity to move forward as a people. Because with this wave, Donald Trump is actually taking the T off of LBGTQ. Was not paying attention. So he said his first day in office, he's going to an executive action that's going to recognize male and female only in the United States of America. That's what Donald Trump said on his first day in office. He's going to recognize male and female on the first day in office. And from a scientific perspective, you got XX move to the next XY chromosomes, which is male, female, and it's given to you at birth. And he said that the teachers are no longer going to be able to indoctrinate children. And if they do, they're going to meet dire consequences. And I quote, and, it's time to move forward as a people, because there's no way we can move forward as a people and have a great nation. There's no way we could do that if we're divided. So now that the Republicans are in control, okay, the red tidal wave, which I call it, because they got the Congress, the House of Congress, they got Senate. And when he was president, okay, and then in the presidential election, he won the electoral college, and he won the popular vote by approximately 6 to 7 million votes. And that's crazy. And for the first time in my history that I saw that non-Republican or Democratic Party, you're talking about somewhere between 6 to 10 million votes went down ballot, whether it was a write-in or whether it was one of the other parties. And you do know without a shadow of a doubt, all of those votes were protest votes from registered Democrats, because a person that's a MAGA, a Trump supporter, they could not wait to vote for Trump. But a lot of us stood down and we did not support the Democratic Party. And it had nothing to do with Kamala Harris. We need to deliver ourselves from this burning house that Dr. King spoke of and become independent so we can have conversations, do what we need to do. And it is what it is. And let me see here. Damon Lee, I saw my own comeback. Nobody believes me. And listen, in terms of, give me some more elaboration on that, because it is what it is. Okay, God has some. Let me see here. So I guess my man Damon Lee had a vision. Okay. And visionaries are real. Okay. And I'm so glad that, I fought through and was able to get the platform to where we're at right now, because, old men dream dreams, young men have visions. So the visionaries need to be able to sit with older individuals who are dreamers so we can come together and create and mold and shape this nation to be what it can actually be. So it is what it is. So that's crazy. That's crazy. So when you look at, the world the way it is, the market is responding. Okay. Cryptocurrency is through the roof right now. Millionaires have been created with just he hasn't even been inaugurated. But when I stream live on the election day, just the thought when he started to win and get that big lead, the market started shifting. The global markets open 24 hours a day. So I'm sitting here watching, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Shimu Inu. I'm sitting back saying, wow, there's going to be some things going down. It is what it is. So, and I appreciate you and that, Steve. And listen, for the first time, now Steve said, good job breaking it down, my man. So listen, this is the first day that I got the super chat. If you could throw $1 in there, I appreciate it, because I want to see how that thing works. Because this is the first time. I've never had the super chat. I got to do the research and figure out how to get that, cracking or get that going. But somebody's, donate, because I would love to see how this thing works, because that's nothing but motivation. And the best nation is a donation. So it is what it is. So listen, if you got anything that you want broken down, or if you want clarity, I don't like the trolls. I don't like to fight, and I don't like going all back and forth, because I believe in, working together. Put it in the comments. We can figure this thing out together. I got my computer up, my internet's good. So we can actually figure out and read things and actually come together as a people, because take a history class, because this vibe in American history. And if you don't believe that, created the Freedmen's Bank, put away $8 million for the newly freed slave to buy land, to buy property, to invest, to start businesses, to become his own human. But due to that assassin's bullet, what happened? Due to the assassin's bullet, it basically went all to shambles, and they put in the Vagrancy Act of 1866, which is a slavery clause, because it's a slavery clause in the Constitution. Neither slavery nor voluntary servitude unless criminalized. So that criminalization clause in the Vagrancy Act of 1866, that was actually signed on January 15th of 1866, basically changed, the path for the newly freed slave, which is the Black Americans, not no African Americans. We prefer Black Americans. African American died with the party. Okay, the Democratic Party is dead man's bones to us, and it has nothing to do with us. We're not associated with it. It doesn't define us. We are nonpartisan independents, and we'll be willing to work with either side. And you basically saw an election where the power of the Black voice and the power of the Black man's voice, but the lack of support, pretty much shaped and molded. Because I got a Latino friend, and he basically said, he put one of the Jesus Christ signs in his yard. And I asked him, did he vote for Jesus? He said, when I went in there and I voted for Trump, you guys are voting for Jesus, but we voted for Trump, my wife and I. And I said, okay, but why you didn't vote for Harris? He looked at me and he said, listen, you guys didn't even support your own sister. So something must be wrong with her. When the blacks did not support their own sister and was debating, going back and forth, then we knew something was wrong. And I sat back and said, wow, that's the power and the influence of the Black culture. And this is why the Democratic Party went in debt $20 million and spent over $1 billion for their campaign, because they knew how powerful we were. And in hindsight is 2020. Good morning, y'all. In hindsight is 2020, right? So when she said, I'm not just going to do anything for blacks. Okay. I'm sure she's rethinking that. Okay. I'm sure she's rethinking that one. And then when they asked her about, is there anything on The View? Is there anything that you would do that would disassociate yourself with Joe Biden? And she back and said, nothing's coming to mind right now. Okay. I'm sure she'll rethink that. But at the end of the day, it seems that based on the data, that she was used as a pawn on their chessboard to basically end and close out an era. Because when she did not get the support of the ultra elitists, okay, the Zuckerbergs, the Bezos, all of the individuals, the rich elites, the Bill Gates of the world, when she didn't get those endorsements, and then you look in the Black community, the Congressional Black Caucus did not support her. The Congressional Black Caucus did not support her. The NAACP did not go on the record and endorse her. The Urban League did not go on record. The United Negro College Fund did not go on record. BLM stood behind Dr. Cornel West and Melina Abdullah to basically build the other as a write-in, because the write-ins got basically 1.6 to 2 million votes for other. But we'll have a discussion about that because the numbers are still coming in. And then the Black Man did not support, the LA Times, the Washington Post, and I'm sitting back saying, wow. And then when they start getting these entertainers and these rappers, this is what I mean when I said this is a end of an era. Because if you think you can go ahead and get rappers, the hottest trending rappers who do music that a lot of us, the vibration with the beats, but we don't adhere to the strip club music. We're not into the Cardi B, the Megan Thee Stallion, Sexy Red and all of that. And then to pay Eminem $1.3 million, they said she gave Beyonce $10 million. Oprah got paid whether she says it or not, because she's caught up with the Diddy tapes and all of that. So it is what it is. So how can you go in debt $20 million? The answer is they were expecting to win the election. So if they won the election, they was going to actually pay their debt through a campaign tab, and literally broke it down and saying that this because is to pay web for the Kamala Harris recount program or something like that, right? What actually put Trump met yesterday, and if you guys didn't see that, and they're talking about it's going to be a smooth process for power, a smooth transition of power. I mean, it has to be smooth when you got knocked out in the first round. Think about it. You got knocked out in the first round. Like I said, I don't condone violence. I don't condone rioting. I didn't condone the George Floyd and all that, but I did participate in Rodney King riots, but I understand. But I'm not promoting any of these things. But when you have an election in 2020 that was so close, I'm talking about by thousands of votes, and on election night you shut down, I can understand why the MAGA supporters were as angry as they was, and why Trump said that he's not going to concede, because it was close. I'm sure I'm not the only one who watches a boxing match, and you can have a divided house. You got half the room voting for this particular fighter, half the room voting for that particular fighter, and then say the fight goes to the 12th round, pops here, pops there, you don't know who won, and then they say we're going to go to the scorecard. You're hoping and wishing that your fighter won. If you were better, the other people hoping and wishing that their fighter won. The family is saying, come on, we can win this, but it goes to the scorecard, and then it slows down, and then you're like, wait a minute, they're taking a little too long right now. They're taking a little too long right now, and then they come back, ding, 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 ding. Okay, we have a split decision. The crowd goes, oh. It's close. And then they go 119 to 116, so 112, so and so. And then they say 113 to 114. That's close. 13 to 1. I've seen boxers protest and walk outside the ring because they believe that they got robbed. I've seen fights in the arena because they believe one of the fighters got robbed. That's what happens when you have a close contest, and it's go to the voters. This is why there was no smooth transition last time, and this is why a lot of individuals believe it was stolen. But this time around, I streamed for 5.5 hours. As soon as I started streaming, 1 hour after the East Coast ballots, the polls ended on the East Coast, he was already up 111-3 when it comes to the Electoral College. So it was literally a blowout, like a knockout. The fight didn't even go past the first round. So when you talk about a smooth transition, no, it has to be a smooth transition because you got knocked out. It's unquestionable. The American people have spoke up, and they spoke loud, because when you win the Electoral College, the popular vote, you get the House, the Senate, and you already packed the Supreme Court the last time you was in office. So party's over. So why are you going to be mad about that? It's crazy. So this is why, we have to do what we have to do. And like I said, in the MAGAs, let me see here, Mr. Fools, MAGA idocracy. Okay, well, the MAGAs, hey, literally they're saying they saved America. And I was watching CNN the other yesterday, and Van Jones, they asked him a question, and he could not even rebuttal. He said, "Listen, we woke up in body bags. There's nothing that I could say. We were wrong. We thought Donald Trump was dumb and stupid. We thought their campaign was stupid, but clearly they showed us something different. And it's looking like he don't even want to be on CNN anymore because he literally, messed up the whole broadcast." And this Van Jones that I'm talking about, because it was such a metaphoric bloodbath. It was such a epic defeat that one thinks like, wait a minute, was she a sacrifice, for, the elitists? Was she the sacrifice? Because how they did it and how they put her out there, I mean, it looks crazy in hindsight, and it's crazy. And like I said, man, let me see here, Paul. Let me see here. I'll let Biden say it, Kamala, you ain't black. Exactly. And I did a video, so hit that subscription and go just entertain yourself. I did a video and I broke it down. She's not black when it comes to race, but ethnicity, she's classified as what we will call Indo-Jamaican. Indo-Jamaican. Her father is biracial from Jamaica. Her mother is from India. Okay. Hindu. Okay. And they immigrated, and they both migrated to the United States in the 60s and went to college at Stanford. So she's actually the daughter of immigrants. So when you look at the black experience, she has not lived the black lifestyle. Now, she might have been discriminated upon, in the sense of being a woman of color. But at the end of the day, the black experience, the slavery, the South, segregation that our parents and great grandparents and our ancestors has went through. This is why we, move a different way. And this is why we are who we are. But from her perspective, she was the best person to put up because she was fighting for the people that we don't see. Because it's not about flesh and blood. It's about powers, principalities, evildoers in high places. So the individuals that we don't see, and she went on record and said out of her mouth, it's not about, literally the voters. It's about the check writers. So my hands are tied. So she literally had to do, what the voters say. So party over. The red tidal wave is here. And you know how they say some things don't end well. You remember when she would do the rallies and she would go out and say, when we fight, we win. That did not age well, because clearly when they fight, they lose. And who lost? The pronouns, them, they, whatever you want to call it. And the females are hurt. I would say black females, members of the LGBTQ elemental P society, which they're losing alphabets because Trump took the T off, and we're going to take the B off of it. And it's LGBTQ. So the T's gone, because Trump said on his first day in office, he's going to recognize male and female, and it's going to be associated at birth. Okay. Now the L got to go, because L stands for lesbian. And as a man, lesbians love women. As a man, I love women. So by definition, I'm a lesbian as well. So take the L. The L's out of here. So basically the LGBTQ community is literally decimated, and it perished with the Democratic Party. So the L is gone because I'm a lesbian. The G, let me see, LB, the B is gone because there's no such thing as bisexual. There's no such a thing as bisexual. If you are a man and you sleep with a man as you sleep with a woman, and if you lie with a man as you lie with a woman, you have committed an abomination, and blood should be upon you. I don't care if you got a wife or 30 kids. If you are sleeping with a man and you're a man, that makes you a homosexual. And that's it, a homosexual. So there's no such a thing as bisexual. So take that B up out of there. So there's no L, because the lesbians love women, and I love women too. So I'm a lesbian. Bisexual, get that up out of here. That's going to stand for black. Okay, because you were looking at a Better Black America TV, and black is an acronym for Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian kinship, meaning we're one race, the human race. So hit that subscription, hit that notification. We're going to be having these conversations of coming together and holding whatever sitting president accountable. And right now, the number 1 and 2 thing that we're going to press for Donald Trump is to basically, his campaign slogan was no taxes on tips. no tax on overtime. So we're going to press and make sure he signs that as an executive action, because that will be for the working class and the middle class, without a shadow of a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. So the L, B is gone. G, listen, I'm happy. I remember as a kid, singing a Christmas carol, happy and gay. Gay means happy. Okay. So take the G. I'm a lesbian. Okay. There's no such thing as bisexual. Okay. G, I'm happy. You're happy. Okay. So that's all that means. So LBGT, Trump basically is taking the T out of there because trans is losing all of its power. And he's pretty much going to punish the trans community because the Democratic Party went full throttle on the trans community. So now if you're trans, just be yourself. Just like we as heterosexuals, we just who we are. Just be who you are. Okay, just like an obese person, I'm sure that they're uncomfortable, but they have to just live their life. They're not creating an obesity society. Okay, they do what they do. So it is what it is. So LBGT is gone. And the only thing that they have left is Q. And I know a lot of brothers who are Omega Psi 5s and they call them Q dogs. So y'all gonna have to fight with the Q dogs for that. So for right now, they're just being classified. The LGBTQ community lost everything. And the only thing that they have left is Q. And somebody, let me see here, Jumbo, and that he's glad that Trump won. And you're not the only one. I didn't vote for Trump. Okay. But I'm as happy as a G-bird that he is back in office because my 401k is up. My cryptocurrency is so up. I want to sell. Society is a little different. And then now, you have a whole Democrat that has to eat crow and go back to what they were doing because they tried to make a female the face of the gatekeepers. And if you look at the history of the female, she's literally the secretary to the boss. So they tried to make Harris the gatekeeper to something that we don't know, an entity that we don't know, a spirit that we don't know. And if you did not know, I basically heard and saw some data or some tapes on Donald Trump, and he was having a conversation. That man said that he's doing this for America, but he's fighting against ancient satanic rituals. President Donald Trump said that he's fighting against ancient satanic rituals, and he is. And the ancient satanic rituals are expiring because if you look at everything that goes with the Democratic Party, if you look at everything that goes with Hollywood, if you look at everything that goes with liberals, they worship Satan. Okay, they're anti-American. Just think about it. The rituals, the Illuminati, the Skull and Bones, all of these organizations, these secret societies that are basically put into play to basically get human beings to cut a deal with the adversary so they can basically just make their lives better personally. That's what that is. So we got to be totally honest and transparent with ourselves, because if you love this country, you're not going to sell your soul, okay, just to be successful. And if you do sell your soul to be successful, the difference between, satanic rituals and God, satanic rituals, you're going to have to pay that back because P. Diddy is sitting behind bars right now and he tried to get his life right, but you got to pay, for the satanic ritual. You have to pay that back. Look at Kanye West. Look what he went through. He pretty much, stopped at a concert, said he's done. And what did he do? He flipped the script, and changed his life. And what did he do? He went to God. Okay, because only God could save us, and Jesus is king, so it is what it is. And it looked like Puffy tried to do that, but he was in too deep. He was in too deep. I mean, something is wrong when you are, get arrested. You didn't kill nobody. You didn't do things, these malicious things, outside of your moral compass in terms of your sexual desires. And then the judge won't even take a $50 million. Think about it. The judge would not even take a $50 million bail denied. So therefore, that satanic ritual have a political prisoner because he could blow the whistle on all of the people that we were told to worship, the Oprah Winfrey's of the world, the Bill Gates, and all of these celebrities, the Will Smiths, and all these celebrities that they put up, which turned out to be, forced to do satanic rituals. And one of the satanic rituals is to basically demasculate an alpha male. This is why all the baby oil, this is why, even in slavery days, they would basically, do some strange things, just to, to demoralize you. And then when you're demoralized, and then they'll pick you up and say, listen, I'm going to give you a clothing line. I'm going to give you a record deal. I'm going to be your best friend, and I'm going to associate with you. And I'm going to use your name, image, and likeness to create a world that I want, and you're just going to be the face of it. This is why you would have a Magic Johnson. Oh, Magic owns the Lakers. Oh, Magic owns the Commanders. Magic owns the Dodgers. And then you look and do the research, and then Magic owns what, 2.5% of the Dodgers. They use his name, image, and likeness to basically, create a brand. And if you did not know, Magic is a part of that system. He contracted AIDS when AIDS was a homosexual virus, and he basically talked and told his stories about doing things with Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion, and that's no different than what P. Diddy did. But what they did, they waited for Hugh Hefner to perish, and then put out the documentaries. And I've seen the documentaries of them talking about the sex that was going on and the rituals that was going on in the Playboy Mansion. And I even heard him talk about the worst. A female said the worst thing that I've ever seen. We were standing around and half pressed that there was going to be something special tonight. And then Linda Lovelace came out. If you did not know, she was a porn star. She did Deep Throat and all of that. But the lady said Linda Lovelace was there. They turned the lights out, put a spotlight on, and then they brought out their dog. This is on, this is real. Okay, this is on the Playboy documentary. So when you talk about sick stuff like that, and then you have a ballot which removes all rules to marriages, opening the door to kids, parents and moms and dads being optional. So meaning that you can marry anything. What type of sick individuals would do that? And what political party are they associated with? And this is why, the black men stepped up, because morally we cannot support a party that, we already have same-sex marriages, but Proposition 3, they wanted to remove all rules to marriage, meaning opening the door to incest, opening the door to moms and dads being optional, opening the doors to somebody going in there wanting to marry their dog. And that's totally liberal and democratic. And in the state of California, why would any sane human being want to be associated with a political party? In California, Proposition 6 was on the, and a yes on Proposition 6 will end slavery in the state of California. And that's a fact. And I still have my book here because I'm perturbed and I'm hot right now, because Proposition 6 literally, and I'm reading it directly off my ballot. Proposition 6 ends slavery in California and upholds human rights and dignity for everyone, replaces involuntary servitude, and it aligns with the national effort to reform the 13th Amendment. And in the state of California, the Democrats in the state of California voted no. So that bill didn't pass. So they want us to still be slaves, documented. Think about that, which is the reason why Harris didn't win, the reason why they're running now about her being the governor of California, because they want us to be slaves and they want to be able to do anything with children, because Proposition 3 removes all rules to marriage. And I'm going to go ahead and do my due diligence since I got you people on. Removes all rules to marriage. Okay, let me hear. And opening the door to child marriages, says, and polygamy. It changes California, and it passed. It changes California's constitution, even though same-sex marriage is already legal, by making moms and dads optional, and it puts children at risk. And I'm literally reading this ballot book. So how can any sane human beings be associated with a party like that? Think about it. How can any sane human being be associated with a party like that? This is why there's a mass exodus in the Democratic Party. This is why the party literally is a lost cause and it will not make it. And this is why that red tidal wave came into fruition, because I had to step in, because now you got the Republicans got the Congress, Senate, and he already stacked the Supreme Court. So it is what it is. We got to really understand what's going on. So the party is dead. And what are we going to do moving forward? We're going to be nonpartisan independents because we don't party. But the fun thing in a nonpartisan independent, you can literally hold both parties accountable. So Donald Trump is the first president that we are going to operate outside of the duopoly, the two-party system, and hold him accountable and hold them accountable. This is what it is. He said, number one thing for me that I'm going to be lobbying is, he said, no tax on tips and tax on overtime. And I know a whole bunch of people that got 9-to-5s that get killed in those taxes on overtime. So this will be something just for the working and the middle class and not the bottom. And Sheila Wells said, I didn't know any of this SHIT. Monetized now. So listen, feel free to put $1 up in there. I finally got the super chat, but I'm going to keep on giving you this information. We're going to keep having these conversations because God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. And it's okay, Sheila. And the only reason I did the word today is because I got monetized yesterday. So now I got the super chat. I'm going to be putting up merch. I'm going to be selling the hats and t-shirts and things of that nature. And we're going to just have fun having a conversation, change the face of America. So a week ago, I would have said it, loud and clear. But when I read the guidelines to monetization, they want you to keep it, copacetic, so we could be partners and we can work together as people. But yeah, so as we start to learn and understand, this is why there's a mass exodus, and this is why the black men, made an educated decision not support. It was not even supporting Harris. Because a lot of people sit back and say, oh, it was misogyny. Well, in the exit polls, it was the economy. Okay, it was inflation, it was immigration. And then when you have an immoral party who wants to continue to turn pages and add things to something that was around, these are things that we cannot support. And I thank God that we have survived this era, and the Democratic Party will never be the same again. The black man, a do not resuscitate clause, and Donald Trump turned out to be David, y'all. Donald Trump slayed Goliath. And the black man is going to take the honors and chop the head off to make sure that it never comes into fruition. Because when I read my Bible, once David slayed Goliath, they didn't talk about Goliaths no more. David became king, and it is what it is. So now we can actually move forward as a people. We can come together as one, but there's no way we can do it in this particular duopoly or this construct of an American two-tier government. Because when they say, Donald Trump is the biggest threat to their democracy, and they pretty much made it plain. So since Donald Trump is the biggest threat to their democracy, the way that he defeated them, the question is, did he destroy their democracy forever? And it is what it is. And let me shall buy whatever. Okay. Said your hat makes 0 cents. Speak for yourself. You're looking at a black man. I am not African American. An African American is something that they created in the late 60s and 70s to put us as minorities. Okay. We are a race of people, a global majority. So make African American black again. So this is what I tell my friends. This is what I tell my coworkers, my white friends. And when I had a conversation on Tuesday, the African American, I said, hold up, the black American, the black, bro. Oh, I thought that was offensive. No, that's not offensive. That's who we are, and that's who we have been. And anybody that does not know that was pretty much, flipped, or pretty much in a different, era. Because in the 60s, we were saying it loud. We was black and we was proud. It's nothing proud to be African American. What is that? An African American is a ethnicity. Okay. That's what African American is. We are black. Okay. I'm a black man. Okay. And that's what it is. And the acronym that I created, and I'm going to take full credit for, acronym is BLACK, BLACK. Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian kinship, meaning there's one race, and that's the human race. And the black man's job here in America moving forward, not the African American, because the African American went down with the Democratic Party. The African American has went down with the Democratic Party, and it is what it is. That's what happened. The African American has went down with the Democratic Party. We are black again, and black men, black community, it's time to basically change the game. It's time to change the game. Got some comments coming up in here. You know what I'm saying? Let me see here. Angela R. talked to God. I asked God why Trump in 2016. He told me that there has to be a sword. They can be a David. Okay, that's real. And if you did not, Saul became Paul and pretty much wrote most of the New Testament. So, you know, and it's basically saying that anybody could change their ways. And it also says that God will fool to show the elitists and to show the smart people that they not really that smart and that they not really that bright. And it is what it is. So we're looking at a situation, like I said, Trump, and I believe it, in this country is fighting against ancient satanic rituals. And this is why Harris wanted to turn the page so much. This is why she wanted to turn the page. This is why she wanted to turn the page, but didn't, go back to the book and look at the book and study the book and learn that in the beginning, it was just male and female. So this is why when Donald Trump says on day one being in office, he's going to recognize just male and female, and it's at birth, and he's going to sign that action. That's why most of us is like, I could rock with that. But when they wanted to turn the page so much, and she did turn the page, and you know what the next page said? The end. So end of an era. We made it. We survived the worst era in American history. It is what it is. And it is what it is. And let me see here. Jeff C. Jeff C is in his feelings, and I appreciate you, Jeff. But listen, racism, like, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's not even real, because most people don't even understand what racism is. Racism is associated with due process. Now, you guys are literally talking about prejudices. Okay, an individual could be prejudiced against, fat people, short people, tall people, whatever. I just don't like them. You live over there, I live over here. But racism is doing things to people or not allowing them to prosper and block their due process and block their growth because they are of a different race. And this is why I go with black, because when you're an African American, you don't understand that. You don't understand that. So when you talk about racism, we just ended being associated with the most racist political party in American history, which is the Democrats. The Democratic Party owned slaves in the South. The Democratic Party fought to keep blacks as slaves here in America, but they lost. But then they created the criminalization clause after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, and the Democratic Party is the party of Jim Crow South. Okay. Segregation now, segregation for George Wallace, Democrat. All your Democratic Southern states, whites only, fought for whites only, Brown versus the Board of Education. These were Democrat trying to be racist against a group of people, which happened to be black Americans. That's racist. So let's be honest with ourselves. We've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray. This is why we're running amok. This is why they get into your head in the educational system and try to train you and get accept an African American agenda, which African American is nothing but an ethnicity, no different than the LGBTQ community, no difference than the trans community, difference than the women's empowerment community, no different than any other ethnicity. So it was a trick. So this is why we got to unlearn past and get to a position in life and really understand what's going on right now, because God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. OK, and it is the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party's original sin is racism. So this is why they point to the other guy. And if you did not know, Donald Trump was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Think about that. Donald Trump was born in New York. Think about that. New York. Was no legalized slavery. It was chattel slavery, meaning, redlining and different barrios and things of that nature. But slavery was legal in the South, and that's solely Democratic. And this is why after the George Floyd riots, they wanted to take down the statues. They wanted to take down Robert E. Lee. You wanted to, because you didn't know that Robert E. Lee was a slave master, okay, had thousands of slaves. My last name is Glover, okay, and I did the history of my family. Okay, the Glovers are from North and South Carolina. The Glovers enlisted on the Union side. My great grandfather told me these stories, and it came out to fruition through Ancestry.com. 1,300 Glovers fought in the Civil War on the Union side. And when I sat back and I asked a historian about why is this possible, how is this possible that you would have 1,300 Glovers, he said that North and South Carolina, in the South, the Democratic, Dixiecratic South, they bred Glovers. I come from breeders. This is why I'm so big and so strong, age of 53, okay, because we were bred, okay? It was Democrats in the North, in North and South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, Texas, those southern states were Democratic ran states. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So what we are waking up to today is the truth, because the truth shall make us free. And we're going to have to unlearn the lies that they have told us, because our freedom and our liberties is in our own hands. We can actually sit back, throw stones and, think and say everybody's racist. You watch and see and have that doom and gloom mindset. No, we're living in the best time of our lives because we survived the Democratic Party. And now we're on the other side. Now we get an opportunity to orchestrate how freedom really works, because the Democratic Party does not speak for us, because the Democratic Party wants to kill babies in abortion. That was the campaign strategy. They wanted to invest in transgender surgeries for prisoners. OK, they didn't want to do anything about the people because they could care less about them. You got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself. And it is what it is. You guys in this country today, let me see here. The truth going to make you free. I'm telling you, the truth going to make you free. And at the end of the day, you can fact check anything that I do, anything that I say, because I'm speaking truth to power. And for the first time in your life, you've seen a black man speak the truth, because the Democratic Party typically suppresses the black voice. And then they will find somebody that will be willing to do what they want them to do and say what they want them to say. And this is why you have a coming down of Hollywood. This is why we are living in a time where our entertainers are being exposed. A time where we're finding out that men that we thought were men are pretty much homosexuals. And like I said, I don't have a problem with it, but in the sense of a homosexual man will be willing to do anything just to be relevant. Okay, just to be relevant. A heterosexual, his morals and his pride and his God is more important than anything that somebody give them. Okay, this is why we are literally, doing what we need to do to be self-made. And it is ourselves that's coming to, the mindset, abandoning a party that's not good for us. Okay, because the party voted no on Proposition 6. So they want to keep slavery in California. The party voted yes on Proposition 3, which removes, and this is the Democratic Party, voted yes on Proposition 3 to remove rules for marriage, opening the door to child marriages, incest, and polygamy. It changes California's constitution, even though same-sex marriage is already legal, by making moms and dads, and it put children at risk. And they literally voted that yes in the state of California. Can you believe that? It is what it is. It is what it is. So it is what it is. So at the end of the day, let me see here. Somebody's confused. Jeb and Michelle Cook. I never comment on anything, but I've been so confused as a white man. But all of this black stuff, black owned and just craziness, aren't we first children of God? Absolutely. And I appreciate that, Jeb. Absolutely. But when you have a two-party system and you have a political system that's predicated and mandated off of something back in the 1860s called the criminal justice system, which is a offset of modern day slavery, and then you have a Democratic president in terms of Bill Clinton signed the 3 strikes law, okay, which is mass incarceration. And then you have Joe Biden, sitting president today for the Democratic Party, who wrote the bill, okay, and promoted that bill in Congress, which actually passed in Congress 96-4, and only 4 Republicans voted against it. You can understand how they're typically dealing with human trafficking, human slavery. If you look at all the Democratic states in America, okay, the top 20 worst cities in America, 18 of them are Democratic. 1 is a Republican Stockton, California, which flipped, and then Nevada or Las Vegas is independent. So 18 out of the 20 worst cities in America is Democrat and ran by Democrats, and it's not right. Okay, as a black man, we want freedom and equality. We want to come together as one, but they are playing this dirty, cynical game in a sense. Look at the music. Black men are being shot in the streets. It's not a bill unless the police does it. Freedom for abortion. 72% of all abortions are children of color, black children. Then in the communities, you have crime, you have all these things going on, and the black race is being affected by it. And the Democratic Party is the party that pretty much create the ecosystem for all of these things to happen. This is why there's a reckoning for the party right now, because we want to get one race, which is the human race under God, because, it says indivisible with liberty and justice for all. One nation under God. Yes. Democratic Party wants to take God out of the schools. They want to turn your children into whatever they want to. They train them and say you trapped in the wrong body. They'll take a celebrity like Dwayne Wade and put his child up there and work for that. So this is what I'm saying. The Democratic side is anti-God, is literally the anti-Christ. So the black man realizes that, understands that, and we're abandoning the party so we can actually be one race under God and all children of God first. Because if we're all children of God first, then we have to be morals. We have to have morals. This is why when President Trump put on the ballot, said his first day in office, he's going to recognize just male and female. Okay. In the Garden of Eden, if we're all children of God, then we all agree that they're just male and female. And if we're all just children of God, we should not be promoting homosexual behavior. Should not. Because if we're all children of God, in that book that we all adhere to says, if a man lies with mankind as he lies with a woman, they've committed an abomination, and blood should be upon them. And there's only 3 abominations in the Bible. What we're doing, you basically are seeing an individual that's having a conversation that waited till the smoke cleared. So now we can actually come together and we can be all God's children. We're all sinners, okay? But we can't promote sin. We're all sinners, but we can't promote a different lifestyle or different behaviors that goes against God and his morals. Okay. Because as a man, I desire one wife, I desire a family, and that's it. I can't promote, being a whoremonger. I can't promote going to bars and clubs and having one night stands, just like the homosexual promote that. But the Democratic Party, this is their best. And this is why they changed us from being black to African American, so they can put us in the pot or in the pot of the ethnicities and stir it up so we can run around. Oh, I'm gay African American, instead of just saying I'm black, because nobody cares about what you do behind closed doors, but you're not going to promote it here. Because it was a time, where the same thing that happened to Abraham Lincoln, JFK got assassinated. Okay. He was the first president that the blacks supported, because he was pretty much talking about racial issues and racial matters. But when he was assassinated, his vice president, which was Lyndon Baines Johnson, he pretty much had a meeting and said, I'll have those niggers voting Democratic for the next 200 years, because the blacks were literally Republicans before Kennedy, because it was against the party of slavery, the poll taxes and all the things, and the poll intimidation. Those were Democrats against blacks, so they wouldn't vote Republican. Kennedy flipped the script. And then when they put Lyndon B. Johnson as president, assassination, he decided to take us from being a race to an ethnicity, because in 1964, they signed the Civil Rights Act. So why, since the Civil Rights Acts were signed in 1964, we didn't celebrate 6 years of black empowerment? Pretty much destroyed the race, created an ethnicity, okay, and then said, you know what, we're going to throw that ethnicity in with the Women's Live organization, which includes white women, the LGBTQ community, which includes gay men, which are white, literally to have a white supreme or white supremacy over the party, because you have to control your slaves. You have to control a group of people, because after the Civil War, this is when the Democratic Party created the KKK and started intimidating blacks who thought that they were free, who thought that they were doing something different. And this is why you see, older black leaders, doing the COINTEL program situations and creating racial math, saying Trump is racist and all that, just to be, fear mongering individuals. We're free. And if I came across a racist, what is he going to do? There's no such a thing. So we got to literally figure this thing out. And this is what I'm sharing. And this is the purpose of my channel. Get people to wake up and understand the facts and the truth, because there's no way we could be associated with the Democratic Party and have an America. Okay. That little pyramid on top of the pyramid, a dot on pyramid on the back of the dollar, they're globalist. Okay. But we love this country, just like MAGA. Make America Great Again. I've seen organizations like America First. What's wrong with that? Okay, but they use the black men in the Democratic Party as their sacrifice, but somehow, some way, we won, because this era has to end, and we will no longer support the Democratic Party ever again. And if you want our vote, you're going to have to come to our communities and talk to us. And as a black community activist, we don't want our neighborhoods to be neighborhoods and barrios anymore. We want to be communities. We want our dollar to recycle. Okay. It was a time where we had our own, but somehow, some way, the Democratic Party destroyed the race and created an ethnicity. And now it's time for us to really understand that. So this is why people, they are upset, because the truth is the truth. And I can understand why you're upset. I can understand why you want a name call, because what you believed in is not true. What you were groomed to do is not true. You're mad that the Democratic Party is over because you have personal issues with your personal self, because you can't love your neighbor. And if we're all children under God, then, the Bible talks about loving your neighbor as you love yourself. So if you don't love yourself, you're going to be disrespectful. If you don't love, you're going to be mean. If you don't love yourself, you're going to be rude. And just like Will said, and that's one thing I agree with, hurt people hurt people. But you're looking at an individual who's free and liberated and loves himself. So this is why I got to love my neighbor and be honest and truthful with my neighbor, no matter how they feel, because at the end, it is what it is, and as somebody put in the comments, congratulations on Trump winning, Mr. Black Conservative guy. And like I said, if you did not know, the black race, not African Americans, the black race is conservative. Okay. Everybody that I know, all my friends, my bros, we are all conservative. We're fathers. We're not with the Democratic Party. And this is why we did not support the Democratic Party and the liberals this time around. They played us with Obama. We got duped with Obama, thinking that, we elected a brother. But what did he do? He created the Rainbow Coalition. And it's crazy that Jesse Jackson's, the name of his organization, the Rainbow Coalition, not knowing that the rainbow was going to be symbolic for the LGBTQ or the pride community. And this is what Obama did. He championed the gay community when we were expecting to be championed because they basically shut us down, from being a race and created an ethnicity. So now you have homosexual men, more importantly, black men, a lifestyle was promoted for them and had their moment in time. Okay. But now the time is up. Okay. Now the time is up. Who you sleep with is your personal issue. But it seems like they were forced to be homosexuals because it was trending. And that the Democratic Party embraced you. Your sisters embraced you. Your mother embraced you. But what did your father say? So now that you mad, hey, all I got to say is repent, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand, and just move on. Okay. Because, you're upset because, like I said, the party is over, and the party that promoted all of that. And then now you have a president in office that's pretty much dismantling the whole community. Because, like I said, trans doesn't even exist no more on day one of Trump's presidency, because he said yesterday or the for that, he's going to sign into law on the first day in office, recognize male and female. He said he's going to anybody that's the big pharma or big hospitals that doing the puberty blockers, they're going to pay. People who have performed surgeries on minors is going to have to pay. Teachers who are training and teaching their children, it's okay, if you come out the closet and if you're trapped in the wrong body, you don't have to tell the parent. He said the only way that happens is through parental consent. So this nation is a conservative nation, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is where we are as a people. And this is why, black, white, or indifferent, this is what we got to be on. So all I'm saying is, the black community, we're nonpartisan. We don't have no party. Any political person want to have a conversation, then we're going to be fighting for the equity into our community, because we want our community to be beautiful. We don't want crime. We don't want poverty. We don't want a terrible education system. We don't want none of those things. We want, what America is, and when I read that Constitution, it says tranquility domestically. So meaning we need to be living in, a tranquil atmosphere domestically here in America. But somehow, some way, Democratic Party, who's the party of no morals, the party that want to kill babies, it don't matter the term, because anybody in their right mind for the life of the mother, rape and incest. And then just from a fairness perspective, things happen, condoms break, okay, you missed your menstrual cycle. There should be, from my perspective, the first trimester, okay, and then that's fair. Okay, and I've heard Republicans, I've even heard Donald Trump say the same thing. But when you ask a Democrat, and this is another thing about Harris, when you ask her, what is it, the 6 months, 7 month, 8 month, and she just, don't even comment. When they ask her, if you're president, will you put in some guardrails on abortion? And she says, I support the women's rights to choose, which means no. Okay. And Planned Parenthood is the major donor of the Democratic Party. Right now, the Harris campaign is trying to raise $20 million to pay off some debt because they lost. You have all of these investors in the Democratic Party in the sum of $1 billion, and they lost the election. And then when you pay celebrities between $1.5 and $10 million for an endorsement, usually an individual endorses you because they believe in you. So this is why Jennifer Lopez on stage endorsing Kamala Harris and crying because she's pretty much acting. Eminem came out. He got 1.3 million to endorse. Okay. Megan Thee Stallion got 3 million. Cardi B. You know how much they paid Beyonce to be on stage just for approximately 6 minutes? They paid Beyonce $10 million. $10 million. And she didn't even perform. And they did all of that and they still lost. So that's something that the party is over. And if you don't know about Willie Lynch said, we can do this for hundreds, if not thousands of years, unless a phenomenon happened. Unless a phenomenon happened. It is, and the phenomenon is the internet. The phenomenon is the internet, because if you didn't know, on election day, I went up and I streamed live, and I had maybe approximately 40,000 on that night. And then you look at major networks, CNN was down to 800,000. So I'm saying, if I could pull those numbers, okay, then where are people going to get that information? They're going to get the information, from smart, sane people who are where iron sharpens iron, and it is what it is. So, we really got to do what we got to do. So as American people, the American people won, we won. Okay. And now that we're nonpartisan independents, now we can actually operate as such as so and hold the sitting president accountable. Because I know, all of you that are on right now, working class, middle class, wage earners, I'm sure that you would love to have no tax on that overtime. I'm sure you would be happy to have no tax on overtime. I'm sure if you are a dancer or a waitress, I'm sure you don't want no taxes on tips. And this is something that he said on the campaign trail. And this is something that A Better Black America will be raising funds to pretty much promote the ideal, and to be present when he signed that executive action into law, because the American people, the working class and the middle class has been paying America's bills, and the working class and middle class suffers. Okay. Because the Democratic Party, forces, pretty much pay the bottom. Okay, they need migrants to come in. They need welfare. They need people, prisoners and things like that. But for the working class, they cannot resonate. And this is why the Latinos showed up and showed out for President Trump, because after second, third generation Latinos, they assimilated to this country, and they are taxpayers, and they don't want illegal immigration, migrants, and crime in their culture and in their community. And at the end of the day, this is the last election, where you can going to be paying entertainers to vouch. I've never seen that in other cultures, only in the black culture, because they think we stupid, so it is what it is. And somebody threw in the chat, Trump says no taxes on overtime. I mean, no taxes on Social Security. So we're going to throw that in there. Thank you so much. And I'm writing that down right now. Let me see here. So SS, Social Security Insurance. So basically, we're going to lobby Trump and make sure no tax on tips. The waitresses, the dancers are going to love that. No tax on the wage earners, the people that punch a clock, the hourly paid, they're going to really love that. And then no tax on Social Security, and that will be for the baby boomers, the older individuals. So this is what we got to do. This is what we got to do. This is what we got to do. And it is what it is. So the Democratic Party literally has expired. And anybody that's still promoting it, wrong side of history. And I think you need to do a gut check. I think you need to go looking at it and make a decision on who you really want to be moving forward, because democracy has trained you to fight and argue. We over here trying to just get along. Knowledge is power. Okay. Iron sharpens iron. And this is what we got to do moving forward. So you individuals that's for the Democrat side, like I said, you making yourself look bad. Your credibility is shot, and you wasted your vote on a user. And if you did not know, on a loser. And if you did not know, the most Googled thing on election night was, how do I change my vote? Because a lot of people who voted for Kamala Harris wanted to change their vote so they can actually say they voted for Trump, so they could be on the right side of history, because nobody wants to be associated with a loser. Okay. And just like Zachary saying, Zachary, you see that sign right there? The blue, red, white, blue. I wrote in Jesus Christ, and I ran a Jesus Christ third party coalition campaign. I put yard signs in people's yards all over the city here in South Los Angeles and Inglewood. And this is why I'm gay today. And I'm happy because I did not vote for a loser. I did not support the Trump administration, but a no vote was in support of Trump, because we're going to go and fight, and we're going to make sure that there's no taxes on Social Security. Thank you for reminding me on that one. That there's no taxes on tips, which is the waitresses and the dancers, and no tax on overtime. And we want it as an executive action. No Congress, no debate, none of that, because the American people need leadership. American people need to stand, need to stand in solidarity for humanity. And the working class and middle class always takes the L. But this is how democracy truly works, because their democracy died, because they said it, Trump is a threat to our democracy. So if he's a threat to their democracy, then Trump is David, and he slayed Goliath, and he gave the black man the sword. And our job, and right now, this is to chop the head off so it will not resurface again. It is what it is. So I appreciate y'all. I've been in over an hour, and I'm going to keep on doing what I need to do. So hit the like, hit the subscription, because it helps the algorithm. And, let's do what we need to do as a people, because there's, one race, and that's the human race. And the part over, and the females, I'm sorry. Okay. The white man has used you. The slave master has used you. Now you got to eat crow right now, because they tried to put the female as the face of the gatekeeper, just like, the secretary outside of the boss door. Okay. That's all, that's what it all comes down to. And it's not misogynistic. It was the economy. It was inflation, and it was immigration. And it is what it is. Trump takes black snakes. Okay. Let me see here. Republicans not lose. I respect Democrats for taking the loss like real Democrats. And that's Carbo. Real talk. The Republicans did not switch over because it was close. Okay. Without doubt, it was close. Okay. The election, they stopped counting the ballots, and then the election kind of, And Trump was saying, find me 6,000 votes, and looking at Arizona, we looking at Georgia, we looking at all these states. It's kind of like a boxing match goes to the scorecard, and the loser, protests the outcome. But the Democrats have no choice but to do a smooth transition of power, because this is how they play the game, and really deal with that low vibration. Okay, it's going to be a smooth transition of power because you got knocked out. It's literally not even close. So if we're watching a boxing match and first round, they get knocked out, you're not going to. But if you go all 12 rounds, won some rounds, lost some rounds, and it was a good fight, and it went to the scorecards and it was a split decision, then you're going to have a problem. But in this particular case, she got knocked out in the first round. Wasn't even close. For the first time that I've seen, the popular vote went to the Republicans. The Electoral College went to Republicans. The Congress went to the Republicans. The Senate went to Republicans. And he already packed the Supreme Court. So we talk about a transition. You can't debate that. The world saw she lost terribly. So this is why they trying to, we will transition smoothly, because they're really good at what they do. But you can't, like I said, if it was close, believe me, it will be some election deniers. But turn that fight on and you went to the bathroom and like, oh, it's already over. Yep, it's already over. It's already over. And when you say stop hating, it's not hating when you talk facts. It's only hating when you are on a side and you don't want to hear the truth from the other side. Okay, over here, this is knowledge. Okay, this is edutainment. We tell facts over here. So it's not hating, you know what I'm saying? It's love. And I appreciate you, not me. Okay, you guys are in the comments, and I appreciate that. But like I said, this is up for us to come together. But you understand where I'm coming from, Zach. Okay, got knocked out in the first round, and it's crazy how when you watch a prize fight, even though that there's a knockout, they'll ring the bell, ding, 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 and both of the fighters got to come out, and the referee holds both hands. He'll announce it. And the winner by knockout in the first round, Donald J. Trump, and raise a hand. And then the other fighter walks away. But in this case, she got knocked out, had an ice pack. So this is, like I said, this is why we got to separate ourselves from this two-party system and really understand what's going on. And like I said, the tariffs is good for America. Tariffs is good for America. Let me see here. Tariffs bring us where we need to be. Explained how. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take that one, because when you have American companies here in the United States that are, lowballed, that, you put your goods and services on the racks, and then you have something that is equivalent to your brand, but it's half or just a third of the price. How can you compete? And you're an American company who are selling goods and services domestically here in America. So what the tariffs does, it charges the import items and makes it equivalent to the standard price. It's like if I had was selling a Rolex. I'm selling this Rolex for $20,000. This person, Rolex, is made free labor in another country, and they're selling that Rolex here in the country for $10,000. Which one are you going to buy? Okay. So if they put tariffs on it, then more than likely price is going to be $15,000, and you can make a choice to buy between American or the foreign. Okay. This is America first. Okay. I've studied the plan. I've been in their think tanks. It is what it is. And I'm going to do a show about the Project 2025. I'm going to debunk all of that, because that's another fear tactic. So it is what it is. So in the sense of, like I said, no, that's right. Okay. And what we're trying to do is to not be divided. And if we're going to be divided, then, when Harris was talking about we're turning the page, what book she turning the page, that said at the end, this is why we use the Bible as the Holy Grail here in America. So if we can morally, cognitively, connect on that level, and we're using the same playbook, which is the Bible, which is a book of politics that contains religion, let's correct that theology, then we can come together as one nation under God, individual, with liberty and justice for all. And it is what it is. And everybody does have their place in America as human beings, not your sexual preference, not your genitalia or what. Yes, everybody has a place, but the Democratic Party too far, want to change up. I mean, if you're born a boy and you're born a girl, it is what it is. Okay, just live with it. And it's such a small minority that, in my mind, why did they even try to put that on record? Because when I seen those commercials, and I did do the research when she wanted to give transgender surgeries to inmates on taxpayer dollars, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Okay, yes, let's stand on God's word. Amen. Hit that like if you like me. Okay, let's stand on God's word. And this is who we are moving forward to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. Not a democracy. Democracy supposedly had died at the end of the war, but it branded itself. And now we are living in a time where we actually get a chance to see that democracy will never exist in America, and we outlive the worst era in American history. So now we can make America great again. No pun intended. Okay, no pun intended. I'm not a MAGA, but I don't see a problem with making America great again. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. And as long as, wherever they come from, and I'm in the comments, wherever they come from, as long as they take the oath of these United States of America and adhere to our rules and regulations, hey, we're going to treat them and we're going to love them just like we love ourselves. So with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all. Hit that like, hit that subscription, hit the notification, because we're doing some big things. The channel's monetized now, so we're going to figure out how to really, hang in there and do some good things. Okay, and it is what it is. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all have an amazing day. This your man Bushan Glover. Thanks for tapping in to A Better Black America TV. Till next time, peace out.